Hi everyone, my name is Innana and welcome to my new channel, InnanaRising, and this series is called Ask Innana. The goal of the web channel is going to be to engage not just me, obviously, but all of you in different discussions on things that matter to all of us on a wide range of topics. The topic today that I'd like to talk about is a topic that is very close to my heart as a mother of two boys, and that's the Trayvon Martin trial. Actually, let me strike that. He's not the one on trial, though sometimes it seems like he is. It's really George Zimmerman that's on trial for killing him. And the topic for today is really, first of all, the defense is trying to show that Trayvon was the aggressor. And that becomes, it's basically the crux of the entire trial. Who was the aggressor? Because in Florida, the right to defend yourself is law. So what I'd like to explore today and have you actually reply back with is your understanding based on facts, not on anything else, only facts from what you've seen in the trial, and things that you know about the law in Florida to explore this violence question. The Trayvon Martin trial, as we know, is very emotional for a lot of people. So I don't mean any disrespect in any of the conversation here. My goal is just to explore facts. So here we go. So the interesting conversation that I had today revolved around this question of who was the aggressor. And it more specifically focused on the moments before Trayvon's death. Now, we've heard some different accounts. George Zimmerman himself gave an account, the interaction between he and Trayvon, with Trayvon stating after having followed Trayvon, Trayvon stated, "Do you have a problem?" Okay. So just like we teach any of our children to do when there's a confrontation, when my children were young, it was use your words. You express what you need, what your questions are, you use your words. So Trayvon did what any of our youth are taught to do. He used his words and said, "Do you have a problem?" George Zimmerman answered back, "No, I don't." Okay, and that's according to George Zimmerman. Now, Trayvon's good friend, Rachel Gentile, who was on the phone with him moments before his death, has Trayvon saying, "What are you following me for?" So even just in kind of measuring the amount of words that were exchanged, we have Trayvon asking two questions. We have, "No, I don't," and we have no reply to the second question. Now, here's where it escalates suddenly into violence. So instead of replying with his words, as Trayvon began the interaction with his words, George Zimmerman claims that he wanted to contact the police. Without being prompted by anybody as part of his statements, he said that he was reaching for his phone, which he, had put in a different place on his person than he normally does. And so that may have looked a little different to him. So I don't know about any of you, but any child that was born in America, anybody who's seen any movies, TV shows where there are guns involved, and I just want you to kind of watch what happens with my body when I do this. When you reach for a phone, I want you to notice this arm, that right there. That's a little suspect, okay? That's no longer using your words to reply to a question. That's an action. And for a lot of people in America, that's an action of aggression because it appears that you're reaching for something, whether it's a phone, whether it's a weapon, whether it's, you don't know. All I know is that if Trayvon Martin were a police officer and the police officer asked you a question and you went like this, you would not have a chance to answer because you would be dead. You can't reach for anything in the middle of a verbal, confrontation. So then the question became, who was on top during this entire argument? And based on a lot of the information that we've come, there's been just information upon information. It's a little bit confusing, but most sources seem to concur that it was Trayvon that was on top. And some people say, see, this proves it. He was the aggressor. He was on top. He was punching. Now, this is the interesting theory that I heard today that explains this in a really practical way. Trayvon's own brother was testified that he believed that the voice crying for help was Trayvon's. Now, for a lot of people, that doesn't make any sense. Why would he cry for help if he's on top? Isn't he winning the battle, like as they try to portray it in the trial? But when you think about it, if somebody approaches you like this, you can't run. You get shot in the back. You can't talk. Your words weren't answered with words. They were answered with action that appears to be aggressive. In that moment, Trayvon did a very heroic thing in that he tried to subdue Zimmerman. Yeah, he's on top of him. Yes, he hit him. Yes, he pushed him down because his life was being threatened. Whether when George Zimmerman actually was reaching for a gun, he exposed the holster with the weapon in it, or whether he was actually reaching for his weapon, Trayvon had every reason to believe that he was in imminent danger, because that's a gun. And it's nothing against a bag of Skittles and iced tea. Those aren't deadly things at all. And I think we can all agree with that. So when Trayvon's brother testified that he heard Trayvon yelling for help, 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 the image I want you to have in your mind is that, yes, Trayvon Martin forced George Zimmerman to the ground and held him there, arms, spread wide, trying to keep the weapon from being pointed at him. We know that he screamed help for a few seconds. And we know that when the gun went off, the cries for help stopped. It seems to me that Trayvon was trying to subdue him, was trying to subdue George Zimmerman to keep him from shooting him, and in that way keep the gun from pointing at him. For some reason, nobody seems to have brought this up in the case, that just because Trayvon was on top, it doesn't mean that he was the aggressor. I want to know your thoughts based on the testimony, based on the facts of the case, if you know any, based on laws that you may be aware of in Florida. The only thing I don't want in any replies are opinions based on prejudices or biases or anything that you got from Fox News, because I'm sorry, I'll delete it. I won't even honor that. I want really cold, hard facts in this. So please keep your racist rants and other unsupported ideas out of this conversation. I really want to open this up to some really good dialogue. Video responses are welcome. Please feel free to do that as well. Comments as always. And please subscribe. If there are topics that you would like to have me discuss or questions on any range of subjects, please go ahead and ask them, and I'll be sure to address them in next week's session. And that's it for today. Welcome to Ask Innana, and I hope to see you all real soon.